So it's been very hot in Wisconsin. Our AC barely works. I'm irritable.
You have been in a mood all week, but let's save that.
Okay, we'll save
We'll
it.
save that and talk about something else for a moment.
All right.
You brought up the strawberries.
Yep.
So when we bought our property a couple years ago, we were delighted. Well, I was delighted to see that there were wild strawberries, and you were the one who found them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you think of strawberries?
I think they taste like poison, and I don't ever want to eat them.
And we know, Alan, you probably think they are poison.
Yep.
You're like, you're right, Eric, it's poison. Now, I love strawberries and have never had wild strawberries until now, until we bought the property. So it is strawberry season, just coming into it. And I've mentioned it on previous videos that, you know, we go to the store and we get a strawberry that's like the size of a small apple, right?
Yeah.
Now, here in Wisconsin, this is what our wild strawberries look like. You ready for it? Can you see it?
I can see it, yeah.
So I was able to, harvest a whole ramekin full of strawberries the other day. They're delicious. I'm not going to eat one now because I'm fasting. But I also discovered that I can eat, like, after a meal, I can grab a few of these, like this much. Whoa. It's on my dress. Good. And this is like 0.6 carbs. So I enjoy strawberry. I enjoy berry season, generally speaking, and I do consider it ancestral eating.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with this. I am okay with, while these are in what is it, in season, and I'm going to go out there. I'm going to pick them because you see how many I can pick in one sitting here, and I'm going to enjoy them. Again, not all at once, but I'm going to have a few. They're really sweet. They have a very strong taste. Have you ever eaten any of these?
No.
I'm not telling you to. I just wondered if you ever, like, tried.
Should I try one on camera?
If you want.
Okay, which one looks ripe to you? I don't want a nasty tart
I think this one looks, whoops, not two, just
I can
one.
they smell like strawberries.
They do smell. They are small but mighty.
Ugh. Ugh. That does not taste like food at all.
So I did that. Now it's just the beginning of the season. We don't have like tons. They're wild. So we've got some nice amounts. But I realized, because it's been hot here in Wisconsin this week, that as I'm harvesting my strawberries, just thinking about how I can't be like, oh, it's too hot, I'm not going to harvest these right now because I don't want to be out in the hot weather. Like, now is the season. You harvest them or you miss the opportunity, period. And even if they'll be in season maybe 2 weeks, but if I didn't harvest these the other day, then I'm going to come in this weekend and be like, oh, look at all the ones I missed because they'll be dead on the vine.
Yeah.
So it was just really sort of a check into like, oh, like this is not just going into the store and buying strawberries whenever you want. It was a real reality check of, oh, this is how it really goes.
Because as eating mostly meat and being generally carnivore,
mm-hmm.
It's ancestrally appropriate to eat them when they're in season.
Yes.
And you burn calories gathering them.
I was in a full squat the entire time. I can tell you that because it's on the ground. So we have a comment. Hello, by the way, and you're in East Tennessee. So my question is, are your wild strawberries in Tennessee in a warmer climate? Are they larger than this?
That's maybe a centimeter.
I'm curious.
In diameter?
Yeah, they're the size of a large
Why did I
pea.
use centimeter?
So I'm just curious, like I said. So we are in strawberry season right now, and we have wild black raspberries. Is that the correct term? wild black raspberries that come in for about 2 weeks as well. We have a lot more of those, so I'm really excited to start those, and I will preserve those or freeze some of those. But again, it's not a huge amount that we eat all year round, just like candy.
It says same pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyone else who's watching
Yeah.
this or watching the replay, I would love to know if your wild strawberries are larger.
Yeah. So great way for us to start a live stream about carnivore diet.
Well, I get such joy from this, though.
Yeah.
I get
Well,
such
that's
joy
important.
from just walking along and popping berries into my mouth
I like
like a gatherer.
The black raspberries are not sweet, so I don't even know how many carbs are in them. So we mentioned at the top that I've been a little irritable of late, and we've speculated about different causes for that. We have a very large home remodel that's going on, and we have our daughter home from college. You'd think that'd be a positive, which it generally is.
Yeah, generally.
But, it's like bringing an adult into the house who hasn't been there for a while. There's always issues. But the response has been triggering all of the cravings for cheat meals, carby things, ice cream in particular.
Oh,
and
ice cream.
We had a day, was that 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
where we were both right on the edge, and we were I felt like we were within minutes of just driving to the local ice cream parlor and having a 2-scoop monstrosity.
Yeah.
But we didn't do it.
We didn't do it. Oh my gosh. So this is a time when I am really glad that you're on carnivore with me, because when I was doing it alone, we would have been going to the ice cream parlor.
For sure.
For sure. And it would have been really hard to
watch me eat.
To watch you eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would not, that wouldn't have happened.
Because generally speaking, people are being pure carnivore. The cravings go way down. And it's not really a problem to resist the ice cream. But it seems to me that the high stress kind of burrows underneath all that to find the old cravings, because those foods provide so much instant comfort and dopamine or whatever it is that they generate. And so it was a challenge.
I don't think of myself, generally speaking, as an emotional eater. I think of myself as an energy eater. So when I am at a low ebb of energy, which doesn't happen much nowadays, but when I'm at a low ebb, I want something to boost me up. But this was absolute stress response. I totally felt like I wanted anything, ice cream, but especially chocolate. And just to sort of, it's so interesting because we use it to numb that feeling or change the mood, which it does temporarily.
Yeah, during the moments you're eating it.
During the moments you're eating it, it can totally numb that mood. But you're here at this channel, this carnivore channel, you know what happens. Number one, you'd feel worse, both mood and physically worse after doing that type of thing.
Of course.
And you might beat yourself up on top of that and be like, oh, why did I do that?
Well, it was made worse for me, but better for me, because I am doing a week of tracking my food on a food log, because I've been trying to figure out where are the little areas that are keeping me at a plateau. Now, I don't feel like I need to lose a lot of weight. I just think I can lose a little bit more, and I want to. And so I need to troubleshoot it. Well, not the best, not the best week to make that choice. And I've already modified some of my behaviors based upon just the fact that I have to write it down. And I'm planning to do a video for next week, Wednesday, where I go over all of my food logs and talk about what I learned. And I'm like, I feel like I'm going to be an embarrassment to myself and my spouse if I don't buckle down.
Mm-hmm.
So when that high stress moment where we really wanted that impulse to go, this kept me on the track.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really did. And the fact that I have a public admission that I would have to make. So we didn't go for ice cream, but what did we do?
We went to a local barbecue joint
Yep.
for our treat. They've got really good ribs. We had some ribs. And then the next day, when we were also stressed, we had McDonald's burger patties.
Burger patties.
Yeah. And both of those felt like a treat
Yeah.
and sort of satisfied that stress response.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The downside with going to the barbecue place, it was barbecued ribs, and it did have the sugary sauce.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like a victory.
A huge victory. I cannot even tell you. Or maybe you know.
Yeah.
It was a huge victory.
Yeah, Rocky Top says, I can't give in at all or I'll open the floodgates and it'll be all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that used to be true for me. Now if I give in, I have just a couple of days of misery because my gut rebels. And then that corrects me pretty sharply. And I knew that as well. I was like, if I give into this impulse, it's going to be bad. And I don't want to deal with it.
I think you said that right out. Yeah.
Yeah, because then it just drags down the rest of my day and the rest of my life. So that's what's going on with that. The video about that will come out Wednesday, and I am interested in seeing how that turns out. I've already noticed some things that have changed, but also some things that I haven't changed yet that are on there that when you see it, those carnivore police out there are going to just be like, can't have any of that. And I'm going to be like, I know, I don't want to hear it.
Now, we talked about tracking in our last video, and you've talked about today about how your behaviors have changed because you are tracking. So that is one benefit of tracking. And you might also not want to change your behaviors when you're tracking for a piece because you want to see where you have been.
Yeah.
Like really, how many calories have I been eating? Calories I'm just using for a measurement. How much fat have I been eating?
Mm.
So
yeah, I was thinking about breaking down the macros of each meal, but I kind of feel like I have a general sense of it that's pretty good. If I was really blocked, I would do that work. But right now, I'm not going to. I'm just going to look at the days and go, look, there was some things right in there that if I drop those, progress would begin again.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about this one here?
Sure, I can go into that one.
Yeah.
So we had a viewer mention in the comments that they use the term, it's not I eat only meat or I'm carnivore. They tend to use the term I thrive when I eat. Now, I'm a life coach.
When you eat what?
When I eat meat. When I eat. I just thrive when I eat.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works. All right, so what's the point of this?
Well, I'm a life coach, and part of a life coach's job is to reframe our thinking, and so we can have more confidence, more positivity, more momentum, motivation, etc. And so I thought this was a great reframe, not only to tell other people, because how are people well, let's do a reenactment because you did this today.
All right, I'm ready. What are we doing?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't want that pie you made me because I only eat meat.
What's wrong with you? Do you want to have a heart attack? Am I doing it right?
That's good, yeah. Or, although you might give me the same response, he's a little cheeky. So, Oh, no, thank you. I find that I really thrive when I eat meat.
Huh, okay. Well, have you considered that you'd thrive way more if you ate this whole pie in front of me? I don't think that's very convincing
I don't
role
think that.
play. It's
No.
like, so you thrive when you eat meat? What do you mean by that?
I mean, like my health, I feel more vibrant. My mood is better. My energy is better when I eat meat.
So what I'm hearing is you feel these things, but the science says that you're very sick if you eat that.
That is true.
So what are you going to believe, how you feel or the science?
Well, I'm going with how I feel at this point.
You're a science denier. Did I do it right?
I think you did well. I liked it.
In the comments, if you think I did an Emmy-worthy performance there, give me a thumbs up.
So I just thought it was a great way to approach speaking to other people, but also speaking to ourselves.
Right, because when we've revealed or come out as carnivore or mostly meat eaters, there is a kind of this askance thing. But if you reframed it and said, yeah, when I eat mostly meat, I just feel way better.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different thing to say.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
and it's good for my mind to think in those terms because I don't have to abstract what the benefits of carnivore are. It's built into the way I phrase it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel great when I eat meat.
And that bowl of potato chips or whatever you're facing suddenly seems to hold less power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It relates directly to this next one, which I disagree with. But I agree with and I disagree with it. So we had a comment that recommended ditching the scale entirely and just not weighing yourself. And
now, what was this based off, though?
well, we had a video where we were talking about what if your weight loss, you just are not losing weight on carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
And I even said, especially when you're first starting, it may be better to just measure your waistline, not your weight. But practically speaking, for me, who likes measurements of weight, it's impossible for me not to stand on the scale. I have to get rid of the scale. I weigh myself every single morning, and I like it, even when the news is bad.
And part of the ditching the scale comment was it's not ancestral.
Right, because you wouldn't have had a scale back before scales were invented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I can see. Now, I do not weigh myself every day and have never weighed myself every day. Although in the last 18 months since I've been doing this way of eating, I weigh myself most days. It's the first time in my life I've done it like that. But what I found for me is that I never wanted to go too far from the scale, in that if I felt like my clothes were getting tight, I was probably going to just check in and see where I was. But I wasn't going to weigh myself daily because that could really affect my mood.
Oh, because if you didn't like the number, you would feel bad.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
And I didn't want that feeling hanging over me. And it was literally like, oh, I feel great today. Oh, I got good sleep last night. You wake up, you look at the scale and you go, wah, wah.
Yeah, see, I come at it from a family tradition of self-recrimination and that you derive a kind of weird masochistic pleasure from having self-contempt and hate and being angry with yourself because, and I think this is key, I think that the way it was modeled for me was if you were angry enough at yourself for your weight, that excused your weight.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. Explain.
So it was an open admission that you had totally failed in your willpower battle and that you knew it. And therefore, the fact that you knew it and you were punishing yourself with your self-recrimination was sort of a way to not have to change your behavior. It's an interesting psychological phenomenon that I have noticed.
Yeah, it is.
It was very similar to the one of the only way to get out of doing work was to be on your deathbed, which then when you were tired or just worn out, rewarded an overreaction or an overstatement of how tired or sick you were so that you could get out of something.
What came to mind was the hair shirt. It's kind of
yeah.
I know I've sinned and I am going to wear this shirt that's going to irritate my skin.
Yeah, I don't know. That may not resonate with anybody, but
It's interesting.
it's just been my experience and kind of how I thought about it. But I'm doing so well now. I don't have self-recrimination. I don't feel bad about the number on the scale. I'm happy about it, and it's very consistent.
Well, I am so incredibly proud of you. Because I really feel like you have changed that cycle of punishing yourself.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And over the last few years, before Carnivore even, I
Mhm.
think we were moving beyond that. And I just knew that was not a good cycle.
No. Well, it didn't work.
It didn't. It ended up in injury and
Anxiety, yeah, depression,
It was not great.
general misery.
Just general.
Yeah, I was undiagnosed, self-diagnosed of GMD, general misery disorder.
Yeah. So I was really, I'm really pleased, and I think the timing is good. I think Carnivore coming after you shifted is good for you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're curious, do you use the scale? Now, so go ahead, pop it in the comments. What do you think about the scale? Now, I've also used it where, again, like I said, sometimes I'd be like, things don't seem right. And so for me, there were 2 or 3 times where I would gain like 15 pounds in just a matter of a few weeks. And we know that's probably mostly inflammation at that point,
has to be.
which I kind of knew then, but it was a trigger for me to go, wait a minute, my hormones are off. My body is not functioning right. And so it led me to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about a nice integrative doctor or a hormone doctor. And so that's happened a couple times to me where I was like, So to me, I didn't have the self-recrimination because it was just like, this system is off and we need to start getting it back on the path. And so it was an important tool for me as far as that goes. It was a signal.
Okay.
Things were not good.
But now you're fit, your clothes don't fit again.
Oh my gosh. So I was saving this.
Okay.
You're going to just be so excited.
I can hardly wait.
So I went out today to Kohl's. First of all, it's Friday morning, so I went and checked the meat sales because I'd learned from the 2 crazy ketos, you go in the morning and you get the markdown meat. I did find you some sirloin.
Get to the clothes.
Pretty good price. No, I'm not there yet. We're on a live.
People want to hear about how your clothes are too big.
We're on a live. So I looked I looked for the meat. It wasn't as good as the last time, but I did get you some sirloin steaks. So then I was like, I think I'll just stop at Kohl's. So I stopped at Kohl's because I need some shorts. It's summer. I need some clothing. I would also like some clothing that fits. I'll show this in a minute.
Okay.
I found a pair of shorts and I held them up and I was like, these look like they would fit. They did. Size 4. Now you may not know what that means. Men with your accurate waist measurements and the ease of going to buy your clothing. No, I got a size 4 pair of shorts. And when I was in high school, I could sometimes fit into a size 4. I was a solid size 8 through high school, or size 6, size 6, size 8 in my 20s. I could not believe I was a size 4. Now sizes are a little murky, but it was so good. It felt so good to be buying that size 4 shorts. And I tried on some shirts. I'm having an issue with some of my shirts, buying some smalls on Amazon and here, and they're still kind of baggy.
Must be nice.
They're still kind of baggy. So it was a big victory for me this morning.
Yeah, but it's really kind of amusing because our battery ran out. Now we're very shadowed. Now we're in the very dramatic phase of our lighting.
Dun dun dun. If we were editing, you would see the zoom in.
So now we're in the Phil Collins video version in the air tonight.
I can feel it.
Actually, if you even know what that song is, that means you're in the right place. But yeah, just watching watching you and go, wait, those pants don't fit. They're too baggy. Buy some tighter pants.
You are on me to buy tighter pants these days. I am gonna need to, but I don't know what size I am. That's a thing.
It's a problem.
And I don't like to clothes shop a whole lot. I never have. Because clothes don't fit me well.
Me neither. I hate clothes shopping just because it's boring.
Yeah.
My mom used to take me to the department store when I was a kid, and I would get these tired, sore shoulders. I'm like, Mom, my shoulders hurt so bad, because I'm just sitting there waiting while she's trying stuff on. Have you ever heard me talk about my shoulders hurting?
Well, we just heard it this week because we talked about this being somewhat stressful this week, and the week started with us going and picking out like handles and pulls for our cabinets in our new remodeling project house.
That was hard.
Luckily, we're working with a designer, and she has this method of totally unrelated to carnivore. But the first thing we did was just pick out handles that we like, put them on the table, and shop from that. So you still had some interest and energy.
It was
at the beginning when we picked out the ones.
Okay, so liked. Imagine a scale where there's 0 energy and then there's 10 energy. And what is the increment from 0 that gets you into some range of positive energy about a task? And I was half of that. So I always like to find a article for a live. And so Google News didn't fail me. They found me another Harvard Health Publishing article. These are great because they're always the most stupid things of all time. This one is, what are the differences between popular low-carb diets? And we're going to flip over and see if we can get this on the screen.
We especially love the Harvard Health stuff because your father was a faithful
Harvard Health newsletter reader. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is by Matt Solon, executive editor, Harvard's Men's Health Watch. And so if a person wants to try a very low-carb diet, what's the difference between a carnivore diet, a keto diet, and a paleo diet? And the answer is all 3 are low in carbohydrates. There are significant differences. And he goes into what's different about ketogenic diet, carnivore, and paleo. And there's nothing wrong factually about him describing the true keto diet. I don't really know why it needs a scare quotes around it. And it talks about how, ketones are released, and the increase in blood ketones lowers the normal acid-base balance in the blood to make it more acidic, a state known as ketosis. That is a very sideways description of what's happening. It may be true that it makes your blood more acidic, but it is totally beside the point and has nothing to, there's no element of importance to that detail. In carnivore, it's the most ketogenic because its carb content is extremely low, which is why it's sometimes called 0 carb. You only eat meat, poultry, fish, eggs, and dairy. The long list of foods not allowed includes all vegetable, fruit, grains, legumes, seeds, and nuts. So that last sentence, it isn't needed to describe carnivore. There's no reason to include that sentence.
I like how you think.
Except he wants to create a suggestion that excluding all of those things can't be good for your health. And then he gets into talking about the paleo diet, about foods that were consumed through hunting and gathering in the Paleolithic era, which ended about 10,000 years ago. And the foods can come from meat, all the usual things, except no artificial products, including healthy oils like olive oil, dairy, grains, legumes. And a paleo diet can be ketogenic if carbs are limited enough. Still, you can go paleo and not be in ketosis by eating more fruits and especially berries. So that's all true.
It's all true, but it's not talking about I wish it said sweet potatoes. You can go paleo and not be in ketosis by eating starchy foods like sweet potatoes, high sugar foods like fruits. So I wish it expanded
so
that.
the good part. So
Okay.
which of these approaches, if any, might you consider trying? The pros and cons of a keto diet depend on your goal. If you want to jumpstart weight loss program, a keto diet can help you lose 5 to 10 pounds or more. That's true. The downside, even for the short term, is a potential rise in LDL bad cholesterol. Personally, I have concerns about staying in ketosis for more than 4 to 6 weeks. Longer-term use of a keto diet is linked to higher risk of kidney stones. False! Osteoporosis. False! And gout. False!
I like that.
With the paleo diet, you have some flexibility regarding being in and out of ketosis. However, because grains are not allowed, you would need to find ways to supplement your fiber intake.
Oh my gosh.
And worst thing of all, you can miss some essential micronutrients. I don't know how you would do that unless you were eating an all vegetable paleo diet. So, Harvard Health has not disappointed me at all. It has delivered the goods in a laughable, ridiculous, pointless article.
You've had IBS issues in the past.
I've celebrated them on YouTube.
And we've done the paleo diet. I mean, I was first introduced to paleo diet when I turned 40 and I had to give up gluten, and that was sort of the standard, which was helpful. It was good. Mm-hmm. We've also done Whole30.
Yep.
Which is paleo.
Yeah.
Right? What was the situation with fiber in any time we did paleo?
Well, fiber is the scouring pad of the nutrient class. If you have an irritated gut, it's ideal for finding the spots that are most irritated and letting you know with abrasive, delightful twangs and twinges of agony.
Now, that was without the grains, though, that you still experienced.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That fiber response.
You know what doesn't do that?
What?
Is carnivore, which when I was doing beef, bacon, butter, and eggs had no fiber in it, everything ran to perfection.
I was with a friend last week for lunch, and she asked me about constipation on the diet, on the
that sounds like one of those weird artificial setups for a laxative commercial.
This is someone I've known since she was a teenager, and it was not a weird. I mean, we talk about these things, so we're there. I'm telling her. She asked. I mentioned this last week. She asked me. She was interested about the carnivore diet, and she's like, "But what about fiber and constipation?" And I'm like, "You are not going to believe this." But things go better. Things go better, and you go less, which is not constipation. It's good.
Yeah.
Now, I have heard some people have had to tweak fat when they're on the carnivore diet because it is actual constipation. But most people, I think, believe, since they aren't going several times a day, that they're constipated, and it's not. It's just that there isn't as much waste in your colon. Go figure. Yeah. You're using the nutrients and not scouring it out.
And no gas.
It's
wonderful. I wish my dad had gone carnivore.
Oh my gosh.
All those years ago would have saved us all a lot of suffering in confined spaces.
Well, I was listening to a podcast today.
Okay, what was it about?
It's intermittent fasting stories.
Okay.
So this is not about carnivore. It is purely interviewing people who do fasting. IF, who do some sort of fasting. And so you get vegetarians on there. You get all, the full range of people with different diets. This woman who was being interviewed was talking about how her daughter had gone into having her cycle early young. And she said, well, we know that girls are going and getting their cycles younger and younger these days due to the hormones in meat and dairy. And it
that are injected into them?
Right.
Okay.
So those hormones, and this has been a theory for a long time. Maybe there's some truth to it. I'm not refuting what she says. I don't know. But what it made me think about is, one, we haven't heard the story about hyperinsulinemia
Mm-hmm.
causing early cycles, early puberty. I do know that a long time ago, I heard that once a girl hits about 100 pounds, it kind of triggers the cycle. I don't know if that's true, but girls are hitting 100 pounds at a much younger age. We do know that there's this whole hormonal cascade that comes with having high insulin and insulin resistance. None of that has been talked about for the most part, especially in the popular realm of media, etc. So it just made me think it was another fear-mongering around animal products.
Did they fearmonger around soybean oil?
No, they didn't say. She didn't say anything about that. And
Okay.
again, I'm not upset about this woman. I'm not blaming her. This is a popular thing. And I also thought about this when I went and bought dog food, and the person asked if I was worried about handling raw meat with raw dog food. Because if you're worried about handling raw meat, we have this. And I thought, holy cow, we have been given messages about the dangers of handling raw meat.
Yeah.
And again, yes, be careful with it. But just all these little messages we've gotten for so long about how dangerous animal products are, not only to consume, but to handle, and how it's creating this early puberty in our daughters, and just really, really made me a little sad too. It's just, it feels like an uphill battle.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Let's check in some comments.
Yes, let's.
D says, I think the carnivore police need to take a step back. I feel everyone needs to find what healthy foods work for their own well-being. I agree with that totally. Yeah.
We've really been blessed with this channel so far. We're small.
Yeah.
And we haven't had too many issues with carnivore police.
No, I think that occasionally you'll get somebody who are like, coffee isn't carnivore, and very strict interpretations. And I get it. If you have a very extremely literal interpretation of the word, understood. I think that it's probably more typical for people to have kind of a carnivore perspective. And then like us, like with show your strawberries.
It's wild strawberry season. If you guys have just joined us since I showed them.
So she foraged these.
I foraged my wild strawberries.
During the season they're available. So, and we would say, well, yeah, obviously it's not a carnivore food, but it is congruent with the idea behind why we are eating the way we are. I don't like them at all.
No, but I do.
If you missed me eating one, you have to watch the replay because it was. Let's see here. Rocky Top says, I only use a scale about once a month. If I use it daily, it's just too frustrating.
That's a great technique. I love that. If you want to use the scale. And I also have heard the idea, this actually comes from Jen Stevens with the intermittent fasting, that word, intermittent fasting. She recommends that if you start fasting, you don't weigh yourself for 30 days. And I think with carnivore, that might also be a good strategy for some people because it's about the adaptation and not the scale. It takes the emphasis off the scale and puts it on just, I'm adapting my body to this way of eating.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we've talked many times that body composition is more important than the weight number. And our scale calculates fat mass inaccurately, but directionally correctly. Because in the past, when I was much heavier, it showed me as a higher body fat percentage, and now it accurately-ish shows a lower body fat percentage.
Look for trends.
I like following the trend lines.
Yeah.
Let's see. Denise is asking, LaCroix. Oh, do you think lime LaCroix spikes blood sugar?
So I'm not an expert. I do have an opinion though. So here's my opinion based on what I've heard from other people. You're probably good with LaCroix. It probably does not spike your blood sugar. And if you were wearing a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, you may not see any spike at all. Some people will even see their blood sugar go down when they have something like that. So the tricky part is we don't know what it's doing to your insulin. So you may have a small insulin spike, which would be shown by your blood sugar going down. So if your blood sugar goes down, you probably have released some insulin. Do I think LaCroix is a problem? No.
Because it's not sweetened with anything.
It's not sweet.
No.
Natural flavorings.
Natural flavors.
Who knows? I enjoy LaCroix. That's never been a...
We are not sponsored by LaCroix.
No. We do live near LaCroix, though. LaCroix. Isn't there a LaCroix in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think it's related to the water company, though.
I think it might be.
Is it?
I think so.
I didn't know that.
So anyway, I don't think it's a problem. Yet, you do want to know that you might be not spiking, raising your insulin level a little bit.
Blip.
So for me, when I'm fasting, I do not drink any flavored waters. I don't want any insulin response when I'm fasting. And when fasting, flavored things tend to make me feel hungry. They tend to make me feel more hungry. And I'm not the only person who does fasting that has noticed this. I prefer to do a clean fast, which is water, black coffee, or black tea. Or I think you can do green tea as well. Those bitter flavors do not supposedly create an insulin response. Now, ideally, I'd just do it with water. But I do like a little cold brew when I'm fasting. So I think you're good. And no, there may be an insulin response happening.
So I do tend to like slightly flavored fizzy waters, but I don't drink them very frequently because, well, one, I will go for the Zevia, which has got stevia in it because I'm a sweet hound and I have not shaken it entirely. But we've really found Topo Chico unflavored is really satisfying. There's something magical about the Topo Chico bubbles.
In the glass
bottle. In plastic bottles, you might as well just drink pure nanoplastics.
Well, minus that, it just doesn't, it's not the same.
It doesn't have the same bite.
Yeah.
I think Coke from a bottle is also very different than Coke from a can or a plastic bottle. But we're not having Coke.
No.
Because we are carnivores and we don't eat sugar. But I would have a Diet Coke and it doesn't matter what it's out of, it's so good.
And I think with the flavored sparkling waters too, if you're drinking a constant stream throughout the day, see, I'm back on that topic.
Yeah.
If your Zevia made me think of it.
Okay.
If you're drinking a constant stream throughout the day, you may be raising your insulin all day long. If you're coming off diet soda, hooray, drink all the LaCroix you want.
Yeah.
But you may not want to have that mouth entertainment.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's mouth entertainment.
You may not want it all day. Yeah. And I think it depends where you are in your journey.
So that's it. That's our entire outline.
That's our entire outline?
We've covered it all.
Oh my goodness.
So I think it's probably time for us to go think about having lunch.
I'm not sure I'm eating lunch today. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I may fast today.
Okay.
We're doing this early in the day. I have a pool party to go to this afternoon. And it might just be better to not eat. And I don't know what she's doing for food. She did talk about chicken tacos, so I could eat the chicken. I mean, I think there'll be things I can eat. But sometimes it's just easier to...
Yeah, because there's not much fat in the chicken that they would have for a chicken taco.
Right.
And so you might eat some of that and then actually be hungrier later.
Exactly. So we'll see.
You've been fasting since, 7 last night?
It was a little late. Yeah, 7 last night.
And it's 11:26 Central Time. How hungry are you right now?
I'm not hungry right now.
That's crazy to me.
He is hungry a
I'm
lot.
hungry upon awakening in the morning.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a habit.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I could learn to not be hungry in the morning. So I think we're going to sign off. Thank you for joining us. If you watched this on the replay, please let us know where you're from and comment on any of the topics we've covered. And thank you for being part of our lives.
Yes, thank you so much. Until next time.
Bye-bye.